AITA for telling my sister to stop using the word family like it means something. When I was 15, I was kicked out for liking men. From 15 to 35 I had no contact with my family. Over the years they have somehow managed to work their way back into my life, only in a small capacity. My sister, who is younger than me, called earlier and asked what me and my husband were doing for Thanksgiving. I told her that it was just us and that we were just going to have a nice dinner and probably watch TV for the night and go to bed early. She told me that she was having dinner and that we needed to show up. I told her thank you, but this was the first set of holidays in 10 years that I didn't have to host, and I was planning on staying home and just putting on a fresh pair of pajamas after a shower and not going anywhere. She then asked about Christmas and I told her the same thing. She then asked when it would be a good time to get together. I told her point blank that I wasn't all that interested given our history and that I was perfectly happy with how things were at this point. This was when she got pissed off and started to yell at me, saying that I need to start acting more a part of the family and that I need to let go of the past. She told me that we as family need to try and bridge the gap and move forward in a positive way. I told her no, we don't. We hardly know each other. We are very much strangers. I also told her she needs to stop throwing the word family around like it is supposed to mean something to me. When we started to talk again when I was 35, when our dad died, her and my brother constantly berated me and told me that I needed to just let them deal with everything that needed to be done. I never disagreed with them. I told them that they could handle it. I was berated when our mother was sick for not visiting her in the hospital or when she was home. I really don't have much of a relationship with my mom and she is a pretty good stranger as well, so it didn't really matter. I threw everything back in her face. Before we hung up she reminded me that it wasn't my husband's blood that runs through my body, and blood is thicker than water. I told her no, my husband's blood did not in fact run through my body, but his semen did, and that was close enough. I thought my husband was going to wet his pants. So am I the idiot for telling my sister to stop using the word family like it means something? Edit. Good morning everyone. I hope that you are all having a great day. First I wanted to say thank you for all the responses, awards and everything else in between. This has been completely insane. I never thought this would go so far. I have tried to read every single response, but there are so many that it will take hours to get through them all. I wanted to do this edit to fill in some blanks, so to speak. When I was kicked out I was 15 and my sister was 8, so she did not have anything to do with what happened. But she had every opportunity to find me after a certain point. When she was 16 and had her own car she could have come find me. When she was 18 and on her own she could have come to find me. She never did. When our dad died it was a friend of mine who talked me into going so that I could maybe find some kind of peace with what happened all those years ago. She and another friend went with. My husband, boyfriend at the time, had to work and couldn't get the time off. Initially I was greeted with surprise and thank you for coming, but then with hostility from my sister and brother. If they for a minute thought I was out to get something from them or our dad's estate, they were wrong. I wanted nothing, and to this day I still don't. My siblings have always told me what my place in the family is, which is basically I'm window dressing. I have been told that I have no business in knowing anything about the family finances, family affairs or anything. I think that they are afraid that I could potentially take something that they want or are supposed to get. A couple of weeks ago my mom asked me to read over some financial paperwork that she didn't understand. Reluctantly I agreed, but once my sister found out she screamed at me for putting my nose into areas that I don't belong. I told my mom not to ask me for anything again because I will not be involved. I have been asked a few times why I keep in contact with them. The answer is because it's my way of keeping ahead of them. I do not voluntarily make contact with them. I have no reason to. I keep my Facebook locked down to the point that I don't show my city, my job, my phone number or anything. But I can see all of their stuff. This works because they post a lot, and if I see that they are having problems with whatever the case may be, then I can work to make sure that if they ask for something I cannot answer or just ignore them altogether. Plus it does give an open avenue for communication in the event of a major emergency. Plus maybe I still hold on to a hope that maybe at some time they will actually apologize. But I don't see that ever being the case. I have been asked if my mom has ever apologized. No, she has not. And she never will. She is from a generation where parents don't apologize to their kids, because that would mean they did something wrong. She is from a generation where kids were to be seen and not heard. I guess it comes down to this. My family has formed this dynamic that I will never be a part of or want to be a part of. And I'm okay with that. I was not asked to come to Thanksgiving or Christmas. I was told that I will be there. Why? I don't know. Then when I declined twice things got ugly. Thank you all for all your replies and support. Update. We had such a great day. Jussie and I, we had steaks on the grill, baked potatoes, steamed veggies and a from scratch pumpkin cheesecake. Tuesday and Wednesday my mom and sister were tag teaming my messenger all day and until I reached my limit and finally answered my sister. She told me when they were planning on eating and that I needed to arrive earlier. I told her point blank that I was not coming to dinner. Out of my own curiosity I felt like something was wrong and I asked her why it was so important for me to come. They have been telling some family members that I was going to be at dinner and that everything was okay and I was part of the family again. This is important because many people from both my mom and dad's family have had nothing to do with me, but never completely approved of what my parents did to me. This was my breaking point. This put me over the edge and I told them I was not going to cover for them and that this was the end of all of it. It was their fault for creating this issue and they will need to deal with it on their own. I told her I was done and that to never contact me again. I ended the call and immediately blocked all communication. The level of anger that I have towards them is to a point I can't even describe it. But at the same time I feel relief that they gave me a reason to terminate all communication with them. They are completely on their own, true to form. On Thanksgiving Day, C and I took showers, put on clean pajamas and watched movies all day and then ate dinner, and then back in front of the TV. Before I end this, I wanted to thank all of you for your support and encouragement and kind words. Here's to a great holiday season. Not the idiot. Opus holidays are a time for your family and your husband is your family. I'm happy for you that you finally cut off the toxic drama for good. Just because you share blood doesn't mean anything. Your family are the ones who show you love and support. Happy holidays and best of luck. Not the idiot. Good for you. Too many play fast and loose with the word family when often it's used as an excuse to abuse and denigrate others. Family is about love and acceptance, and it doesn't require a blood relationship to do that. I'm sorry, but those people are loathsome. Happy holidays to you as well. Should Opus have cut them all off? Let me know in the comments. Now, AITA for telling my sister to stop using nonsense baby talk. Really need Reddit for this one as I genuinely don't know if I'm an idiot. My female, 34, sister, female, 27, Alana has always been somewhat infantile. But in the last year she's stepped up her game in the category of nonsense baby talk. She was seeing a guy last year who I think liked it, which might be why, but it's literally every second sentence, and it's driving me nuts. Some examples: she's arrived at my house and asked if she could put some juice in the fridge. Turned out she wanted to put juice in my fridge. On seeing my 6-month-old crying, she loudly said, "Oh no, don't cry." And she's asked if we have any ice in the freezer. You get the idea. It's endless and very annoying. My older sister, female 35, Est and I have chosen to combat this by pretending we don't know what she means until she says it correctly. My mom does nothing about it as Alana is the youngest and always babied a bit. Mom has even translated the baby talk for me and Est when we are pretending we don't understand. Anyway, yesterday Alana was at my house for my birthday, and the baby talk was dialed up to 100. We had a giant cookie for a cake, and later in the evening Alana handed my husband a plate and requested a slice of the cake of cooks, a slice of cookie cake. This was too much for me, and I told her to stop with the made-up words. She replied, "But it's cute." I informed her it was not cute and asked her to cut it out. She refused and told me I can do whatever I want and nobody can tell me what to do. Or something along those lines, to which my mum agreed. I then said that she had to make sure not to use the nonsense words in front of my 6-month-old as I wanted her to learn the right words, which was really just an excuse to stop her from doing it. Alana pointed out that Est uses made-up words with her 2-year-old. Est says tummer instead of tummy, but that's the only one she could think of. I said that what Est does with her daughter is irrelevant because I'm the one asking Alana to stop. That bit might not be relevant, but I'm adding for full transparency. When my husband reappeared with the cake, I refused to let Alana have it until she asked for it properly. She gave me a death glare but did ask properly, albeit sulkily. My am I the idiot is twofold here. Was I taught to withhold the cake until she asked for it like a grown-up? And was I taught for telling her to stop talking nonsense in the first place? She is, after all, a fully grown adult who can do what she likes. But I honestly can't tell you how irritating it is to hear nonsense talk all the time from a 27-year-old woman. And she had dialed it up to 11 for some reason. My mum agreed with Alana obviously. Est wasn't there but agreed with me when she was told what happened, as did my husband. I'd love to put my foot down and tell her to cut it out every time. But I need the judgment on Reddit for this, as I don't know if I'm blinded to my unreasonableness by how annoying it is. Update 1. To answer a few questions. Yes, I've addressed this with her before, as Est. This is just the first time I've flat out refused to follow up on what she said. She's pulled the "but you do it with your daughter" card on Est before too, so clearly she thinks that's a good argument. The only people present were me, my mum, Alana and my husband. It was just a low-key thing, so no big crowd. Est and her husband joined later via Zoom. We played joke boat on Jackbox. I came 5th. Alana is generally very sweet and fun, but definitely immature and can be super annoying. This gets on my last nerve very quickly and I can be hard on her, hence my am I the idiot. Usually my husband is good at pointing out if I'm being harsh, but he was totally on my side here. Yes, I used the Haim sisters' names on purpose, and yes, I'm smug I get to be Danielle. Anyway, my mum just came over and I spoke to her. She agreed very quickly that it is annoying AF but said that Alana is working on standing up for herself and my mum wanted to support that. I was like, sure, but pick your battles. My mum agreed and said she will talk to her about it when it's just them, as she thought that agreeing with me in the moment would have made Alana defensive, and she wouldn't have listened. Which is probably true. I mentioned what some commenters had said about it being my house and me being able to ask her to stop. She agreed with this and reiterated she would talk to Alana. That's all I have for now. I'm going to talk to Est and I think we're going to go for the talk to her seriously, treat her like an adult approach, and try to be a bit kinder about it. Thanks again for the comments. Est and I are feeling very vindicated. Update 2. Anyway, I digress. I got my chance to confront Alana on Saturday evening, when Alana and my mum came over for another round of Jackbox and Alana asked me if I liked her new jump. I replied, "You're what?" And she leveled me with a slightly smug, unblinking stare. My mum jumps in and tells me she means her jumper, and Alana interrupts her, saying she knows what I mean. I can say jump if I like. Clearly she had decided to double down, but I had my Reddit voices in my ear, and I was prepared. I asked her to stop talking in nonsense words, and she told me that it's a thing that all millennials do, and I needed to get over it, and said that I do it too, and gave Prosec as an example, Prosecco. I disagreed, then told her that I'd been Googling it. Translation: I've asked a bunch of Redditors, and that it had made me wonder if she was doing it as a reaction to no longer being the youngest in the family. She was very affronted by this, telling me she had been doing it way longer than the arrival of the kids. I said that she had been doing it much more recently. My mum agreed with me. Alana looked 553 at this and kept spluttering that it wasn't the case. I then said that in my Google, Reddit, research which I'd read that it could be a comfort for anxiety and asked her if this is what it was. She seemed very annoyed about my trying to diagnose her or make it into an issue. She was trying to be cute and funny and I was ruining it with my concern for her well-being. She told me that I was very weird for thinking it's a big deal and for Googling it. And I said I was doing this because she's far too old to be talking like a Yoda baby. I then said that if it wasn't a reaction to anxiety, could she please stop? Because it annoys me a lot and I don't want to be annoyed when I hang out with her. Full props to Reddit for my phrasing here. She stared at me in silence for a good 20 seconds. I could see her brain whirring as she tried to calculate a reason to say no. But in the end, my mom quietly interjected with "That's a reasonable request, isn't it?" And Alana gave a hefty, defeated sigh and said fine. I said thank you and we swiftly moved on. I am hopeful that's the end of it. I am so glad I turned to Reddit for this one, as all the advice worked perfectly, and I'm going to try and keep it in mind with my interactions with Alana going forward. Was she in the wrong to ask her to stop? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.